This is Trevor Sternad from the Black Dahlia Murder here, and you're listening to the Everblack Podcast.
Hey, human skull, this is odorous from Guam.
Going to the Fear Factory.
This is George Corshunter Fisher.
This is Gas from Double Drop.
This is Wade from Our Last Enemy.
Magnificent Suicidal Tendencies.
Hey, this is Wednesday 13. This is Bruce. This is Rex from Kill Devil Hill.
This is Gary Lee from Sepultura, and you're listening to Everblack Podcast.
Before we go into this episode of the Everblack Podcast, we just need to give a shout out to our show supporters, the occult clothing brand Electric Witch, who have amazing apparel from shirts to hoodies to hats to beanies, dresses and more. Check out their full range at electricwitch.com.au and put in the code Everblack for 20% off your order. Also, don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the Everblack Podcast on Spotify and iTunes podcast streams, and see all our video interviews on the Everblack YouTube channel. You can also read all our articles and reviews at everblack.com.au. All right, on with the show.
Much of a role with these interviews. So yeah, very nice to meet you, and thanks for having me on the podcast today.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Well, of course, the new Cannibal Corpse album, Violence Unimagined, comes out on April 16, and as I said, man, it's such a solid album. Not just for death metal, but just in general, it seems like you guys just keep getting better over the years, mate. It's like,
thank you.
Album number 15.
Yeah.
And it's so fresh too. Like, I don't know how you guys have done it.
Well, I think a big part of it is just having multiple songwriters in the band. It's not just one or two of the guys. It's several of us that are contributing writing. On this album, for example, it was Erik writing 3 songs. I wrote the music for 4. And Rob wrote the music for 4, and then Paul did lyrics for a couple of songs, one from Rob and one from me, and then we each did our lyrics for the rest. So it's a lot of people. You know, there's out of the 5-man band, really, the 4 of us do a whole lot of creative input, you know, and George also will add, you know, his touch when he's doing the vocals, but overall there's just a lot of input from the whole band, and that's key. I think we kind of inspire each other, and it's not just one mind trying to think of all these things over the past 15 albums. It's always been a team effort, regardless of the lineup of the band. We've always had everybody contribute if they want to, and as much as they'd like to. And that helps when you're making 15 albums and you're trying to keep them consistent, but also fresh and interesting. It really helps to be able to put your heads together for that.
See, but that's interesting in itself, because that doesn't always work. You know, what's the old saying about too many cooks in the kitchen?
Too many cooks in the kitchen, yeah.
But you know, like it really works for you guys, you know. And do you think it also has something to do with, you know, obviously there's all the ideas from the different members, but you're also touring with bands of different subgenres. Like, you guys don't just stick to death metal. You're all over the shop with different.
Yeah.
Draw from all that.
I don't think we really draw from that so much, like the bands that we tour with. I don't think we definitely try not to be inspired, you know, writing wise by particular bands or anything like that, especially contemporaries. But of course we're inspired by the bands we grew up listening to and everything. But, well, for me, for example, just speaking about how I write songs, I'll be thinking of a rhythm that might be from somewhere way off in left field, like some jazz fusion thing I was listening to. And I'm like, well, how can I metalize this? You know, or maybe, like, I know Erik likes classical music a lot, and I can kind of hear that in his writing. So I think, you know, of course we have inspiration and we're inspired by the bands we listen to, but we're also, you know, taking inspiration from places that you might not expect. And it ends up not sounding like, I don't think I write things that sound like jazz fusion, but I listen to that stuff a lot. And somehow it does, just becoming familiar with different kinds of music, it ends up being part of your musical vocabulary. And even though you're writing death metal, there's that influence in there. Pardon, my dog is barking upstairs. So,
mate, I've got a Labrador. She'll probably go off soon.
Oh yeah, yeah. Some other dog made the transgression of walking by the house. Probably that's what happened. So she had to let her know who's boss.
But I mean, Oh, dogs. Yeah. What are we saying? Dogs.
Oh, we're talking about writing, talking about songwriting and different influences, and it's it's from a whole bunch of different places. And when you have a bunch of different songwriters and all of us listen to a ton of different stuff, even though we're trying to stay within these boundaries that we set, we're Cannibal Corpse, and there's a certain kind of death metal that we play, and that's really from the first album to the 15th, we wanted to stay within those boundaries, but we'll, try and push against the boundaries a little bit here and there with some different things, but still we want to stay consistent with the original goal. And I think we're able to do that and also have variety because of having, because we have a good creative team of songwriters in the band.
I think it's more than that. Like the lineup right now is just absolutely on fire. You've got such an incredible lineup in the band right now. It's mind blowing. Do you realize that? Like, do you recognize like these guys are all weapons?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you think about it, like, okay, so two of our main songwriters for this album are Erik Rutan and Rob Barrett, and both of them have been band leaders. Erik still is with Hate Eternal. Really, I think he's the band leader of Hate Eternal, and then Rob was more or less the leader of Solstice when he was, for that album that they did back in I know they've continued on without him since, but he wrote, I think, most of the lyrics and a lot of the music for that. So we got guys that are, capable of writing whole albums on their own that are awesome albums. And both of them were lead vocalists as well. So yeah, there's a lot of talent, and it's like, for example, having Erik on board now too, we're completely aware of how killer he is and how experienced he is. I mean, he's been playing death metal as long as we all have, so he brings a lot to the table for sure.
Well, I mean, you've worked with him for years. He's been, so it seemed like it would have been an obvious choice. I mean, but approaching the writing for this one, now that he's a full-time member, did that change much? Did it sort of open more for creativity for his input?
Well, we do write alone a lot of the time. Like, he wrote his 3 songs at home, programmed drums for him and everything, and wrote the lyrics and made demos of that. I did the same for my songs. And then Rob will usually work with Paul a little bit. He's less into, he's not really into programming drums or anything. He'll actually go up to the practice room, work with Paul. But so it wasn't so different from how we normally write, because that's kind of how it was with the previous lineup as well, writing individually. But he has his own style that's well developed, that, as everyone knows, if you're familiar with his work, and Ripping Corpse, Morbid Angel, Hate Eternal, he's got a well-developed musical style. And beyond the 3 songs he wrote for us, which were Condemnation, Contagion, Ritual Annihilation, and Over Torture, beyond that, he's playing leads all over the album as well, and of course a lot of rhythm guitar. But the leads in particular, you can hear that it's him. Erik has his own style. But talking about like how he's produced 4 albums for us, he's done that. I mean, Hate Eternal and Cannibal have toured together several times in the past, and then he also toured with us as a fill-in, guitar player before he joined permanently for a year. So he has his own style, but he also has this really good understanding of what our band is about. And I think he was able to work his style into our style really well. It was a seamless transition.
Absolutely. It's incredible. I can't stop raving about this. Like a friend of mine, Shane, he's a massive fan as well. And I just messaged him the other day. I was like, mate, you just wait until it's just gonna melt he was the one that sort of started it with me. He had all the early Corpse albums on cassette and was like, hey man, check this out. He's gonna lose his mind.
Killer.
It's good, eh?
We're really excited to see what everybody thinks about it. Normally we would be going out on tour and hearing from people after the show when we would talk to them. We usually will talk to people when the show's finished, before we get on the bus and go to the next place. And obviously we can't do that this time, so we'll be probably checking comments here and there on videos that we release and things like that. But it's I mean, we're always excited to see what people think, and all 15 of these albums, they represent the best that we could do at that given point in time, and they represent our attempt at making the best album we've ever done. And that's what we tried with Violence Unimagined, was to make the best Cannibal album. And of course it's up to fans to pick their favorite, but we tried to make this the best one.
Time for a massive box set, I think. Or soon.
Wow. Well, we did one for our 25th anniversary, but it wouldn't take much arm twisting to get label people to be like, yeah, sure, let's do a box set. But yeah, we have enough material. Probably wait until like the 40th anniversary to do another big thing like that, which is crazily not all that far off. We're already on year 33, I think. So it's been a long career, and yeah, so we're 7 years or so from 40th anniversary. So that'll probably be the next big one we celebrate with a box set or something like that.
Well, talking about anniversaries, Butcher to Birth.
Yes.
30 turns 30 this year in July. Yep. You guys, are you planning on, celebrating that somehow?
I think that, Metal Blade is planning to do a box set. And like I did a podcast, which I actually didn't realize it was a podcast until I was well into the interview. I thought it was going to be a written transcribed one. So, but anyway, yeah. So there's going to be some special stuff with this re-release of Butchered at Birth. I don't know exactly what they have planned, but I did do a podcast that'll be part of some deluxe edition of Butchered at Birth that they're going to do. And I would assume that'll be out sometime this summer. But I haven't heard. We've been so busy thinking about Violence Unimagined that I haven't asked actually what their plans are for that anniversary. Obviously, we're not doing shows to celebrate it, as really nobody's doing shows right now. But it'll be cool that Metal Blade's putting out something.
Absolutely. I mean, what a career, probably. I mean, you've also had a long working relationship with artist Vince Locke as well.
Yes.
Man, all of his artwork. I can't imagine someone else doing it. You know what I mean? It's such a significant part of your career. But do you have to explain to him like the ideas and concepts, or do you just let him sort of go?
We usually just let him go. Like Paul, our drummer Paul, is the one who talks to Vince the most when it comes to getting the artwork together. And a lot of times it's just, here's the title, and see what you can think. And obviously with something like Violence Unimagined, well, that's wide open for interpretation. It's not specific at all. Hammer Smashed Face, something like that, which by the way, he did not do the artwork for Hammer Smashed Face. If any fans are curious about that, that was actually a piece of art that our British distributor picked on his own, or like had someone draw and put it on there without even asking us. But before I get too far off track on that, certain songs are very descriptive.
Yes.
Violence Unimagined leaves a lot open. So he came back to us with several different sketches, and we chose that one, the mother eating the baby. We chose that one, and we're like, okay, go with that. That's really, brutal and disturbing. That'll be appropriate for those, for the album title and for the music on the album. It's a brutal album, should have a brutal cover. So we went with that, and once we saw it and the label saw it, they're like, okay, that's great. Well, we're going to need an additional cover. So he did that. He did another cover, and we've done that a few times because we don't want to limit how brutal we make the stuff. We want to be able to have it be as, gory as we'd like, but we also need to be able to get it distributed. So since Tomb of the Mutilated, there's been several albums where we've had two different pieces of art, and it makes everything a lot easier in terms of getting it into record stores and other kinds of distribution. So yeah, but the ideas are mostly his. Every now and then we'll give him some tips like, hey, we want this or that, but usually we just let him run with it. He's such a creative artist, and he's totally on the same page with what we want, it's really easy. Yeah, just give him a song title and he'll just go with it.
Has there been an instance where he's come up with something and gone, what do you guys think? That's inspired you musically? Like he's on something up?
No, it's always after the fact. You know what I mean? Like but not to say that isn't possible. I mean, because his stuff is so killer. It's like gory, but a lot of the stuff he does outside of doing stuff for Cannibal Corpse, which of course is a ton of art he's done.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
He's done a whole lot more than just our album covers, and he's done such interesting stuff. Some of it really surreal, and I enjoy surreal horror. Like things where it's almost like something out of a nightmare. It doesn't quite make sense.
Yes.
And he's really good with that kind of stuff. And so, although I haven't, sat down and written a song thinking about one of those things, there's certainly fertile ground for inspiration there. I mean, he's just a fantastic artist, well beyond what he does for us.
Have you ever considered maybe teaming up with him and doing something visual, like a short film or something like that, or animated series or something like that?
I would love to have him do an animated video for us, something for one of the songs, which of course would be like 3.5, 4 minutes. Most of our songs are sort of in the 3.5 to 4.5 minute range. So I don't know if he has any interest in doing animation. And I also don't know like what it would take financially and otherwise. It seems like it's a lot. I mean, because it's, I don't know how many thousands of drawings for just a few minutes as opposed to one. So it would be a whole lot of work. I think I don't know anything about animation, but I'd assume that there's a lot that goes into it and that it requires tons of time and probably a team of people, not just this principal artist, so I'd love to do it, but I get this feeling that we could, once we started looking into it, it might entail a whole lot more than we realized, but I would love to do that. Actually, I could totally picture some of these album covers coming to life for 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Like Eaten Back to Life. Even though that's the first one, for some reason, it's just so visual and violent and so much action in that piece of art.
Yeah.
Like it's almost moving already. The way he has so much action in the scene that he created there. So I'd love to see those things come to life to our music for 3 minutes in an animated video, but we haven't ever actually talked about it because I think it might be too much we'll see.
Once you open those doors, mate, it's like, you're like, this will be easy. And then, oh shit, what have we done? But you never know. Maybe it isn't something completely out of reach. We'll see. I'd love for him to do that. It's up to him ultimately, for sure. Yeah, that'd be incredible. But last time I saw you guys was in Brisbane. That was quite a few years ago. Like you guys, understand with touring's not happening and stuff, but mate, we can't wait to see you guys again. We've been hanging. We're overdue. I think we missed you on Red Before Black. I start to, we've done so many tour cycles now that sometimes I forget, was it Skeletal Domain that we were there last or Red Before Black? But I think we might have. We didn't get over there then. No. Or if we did, it was at the very, so it's been years already, pandemic aside. Yes.
So we're hoping, the way things look, I think most bands are probably kind of eyeing up this fall for the beginning of touring in their home countries.
Yes.
And for us, we're thinking even a little more conservatively and probably thinking maybe like February, March of next year. Then I would assume that international tours are going to be even a little further behind for obvious reasons. Absolutely. They may need to establish some kind of a, proof of vaccination card that you carry in your passport, things like that. So there's probably going to be a lot to get worked out before truly free travel, the kind that we were used to pre-pandemic, resumes. But man, we want to get back down there. I really hope if not in 2022, at least 2023, we can start touring and get back to Australia and the rest of the world, you know.
Absolutely. Because I tell you what, mate, like for a long time, every tour announcement that was coming through that was like teased, like, oh, tour announcement on Monday, everybody was like, Corpse, 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 Corpse. And then when it wasn't, it was like, oh. It was still cool, but people want to see Corpse again here. When you tour here, it's going to be so big. It's going to be massive.
I can't wait. It's been too long already. And now it'll be even another year or two to be realistic, but we'll be back and we can't wait. So,
absolutely,
you know, hope to see you all soon. We'll see.
I will say that when I did see you in Brisbane, it was an amazing show, but something happened at the end of that gig. I don't know if you remember it, that really pissed George off. I was way up the back, and all I saw was some dude grab his mic or jump on stage. Something happened, and it kind of like ruined his vibe. I'm just throwing that out there. We're sorry, jerk.
Oh, well, no worries about that. And I suspect it was something forgotten very quickly, you know, because I mean, when he's up there, you know, you're in that state of mind, you're performing, you know, or whatever. So if something distracts you, maybe he gets a little angrier than he normally would. So I wouldn't worry about that in the least. I'm sure it was forgotten quickly, and we don't have anything but good memories of playing Brisbane. So no worries there.
We're all like, that jerk ruined Corpse coming back. They're not coming back to this guy.
We'll be back. In fact, I think again, we've done a lot of shows, so it's hard to remember, but I think most of the time we play the same place in Brisbane. Like maybe every time. Like
not anymore.
No,
that venue, the Hi-Fi it was called.
Hi-Fi, that's right, yeah.
It's gone, man.
So when we come back, it will be something different, somewhere different, because we might have even played there way back in the 90s, if I'm remember. And again, this is really talking like 27 years ago. Jeez, is that how? Jeez, yeah. But it's been a place that we played a lot, really. I mean, and I'm sad to hear it's gone, actually. But you've got some good venues there now,
dude. Trifford's awesome. What else we got? There's a few actually. Yeah, you should just come play the Gold Coast though. I don't know if you did 100 years ago, in the 90s, but
I don't think so, no.
Mate, it's only down south. It's closer to where you are in Florida, I think. It's sort of beachy and stuff, but you should come down and play the Gold Coast.
And actually, I would love to. And let me say too that, full disclosure, I'm in Oregon right now. I'm not in Florida. Oh. Yes. Yeah, I live up in Oregon now. My wife and I moved up here about almost 6 years ago now.
Wow.
And the other guys still live in Florida, and I travel back there. And I don't know if this was going to be part of the interview or not. Did anything with the pandemic change your recording or anything like that? Or if you saw it in the press. But yeah, I did end up recording my tracks up here in Oregon. But just because right when we were scheduled to record is when the lockdowns were first starting to happen. So, I have a home studio up here I recorded in instead of down in Florida with the rest of the guys, where normally we wouldn't do that.
See, because it popped up in the thing said that you were in Florida. See? So you can
my Skype thing says that? You know what? I update my Skype. My Skype status gets updated about once every 4 years. And so I'm a little behind. I might have been in fact, that might even be about a 10-year-old status update. That's how much I use Skype outside of interviews.
You're like, oh, not really.
No, I am not in Florida. Okay, I'll update that after this so that no one's confused. All right.
Just confuse them. Fuck them.
Yeah, no, I haven't. Yeah, that's I haven't lived there since 2015. So,
wow.
Yeah,
crazy, dude. Wow, that's a lot's happened, and dude, we can't wait to see you guys again. Of course, the new Cannibal Corpse album, Violence Unimagined, is out on April 16. We'll have all the links down here. Everyone needs to get it because it'll just blow their minds. So, dude, thank you so much for hanging out on the show, and stay safe. over there.
Yeah, thanks so much. And you stay safe and healthy too, and everybody watching as well. And hopefully we see you all again sooner than later, and thanks so much for the support.
Always, brother. Always. Yeah, well,
Right,
enjoy your night, I guess.
Yeah, what time is it? Almost 3:30 over here. So in the afternoon. So not too bad. I'm going to go make some dinner after this.
Nice.
Killer.
All
Well,
right.
thank you so much, man. And I
Take
really
care, bro.
appreciate the interview. Take care.
See you, man.